And hey, everybody, it's Mike here from Incredicon and IncrediChat. Welcome to our show tonight. We got a great show tonight. We got a couple of fun guests. If you may have seen me over on their show, and they're crossing over. It's like one of these big, almost like podcast-verse crossover events. So tonight we welcome the nerds of the round to the show. But before we get started, I just want to say a couple of quick words here. And actually, we were talking about it backstage with the guys. The guys from the Nerds of the Round. And you know, I'm gonna bring them in first, and then we could talk about this because there's a cool story with that. Welcome, Sebastian and Law. And you guys have seen these guys on the Nerds of the Round, and there's their YouTube page. But like I was just saying to everybody, we were talking about this beforehand. I just want to throw this out there tonight. You know, we just want to take a moment to remember a great actor, a great person that I guess we all grew up watching on TV. I'm gonna throw this up here. A couple of days ago, and if you live up here in the Hudson Valley, you certainly know who this guy is. Sam Wright. He was the voice of Sebastian in The Little Mermaid, and he was also Mufasa in the original production of The Lion King. An awesome guy here in the Hudson Valley. So again, we certainly want to just take a moment to remember him tonight and all the great work he did. Go watch The Little Mermaid. I actually threw that on the other night. It's a great movie. I never get bored of The Little Mermaid, and I'm not ashamed to say I like The Little Mermaid either. It's a great film.
You should.
It's a great film.
Good.
And like I showed the guys before, and they all got a kick out of this. Here's 25 years ago me and Sam. I knew him growing up over in the Valley Central where I went to school. So there I am at graduation day, which was really fun and exciting. But, you know, a great actor, a great man. Check out his work. He was in a bunch of Broadway shows, a bunch of musical things. You can find so many great interviews on YouTube. So certainly go and check that out. But let's get over to these guys now, the nerds of the round, Sebastian and Law, and your other guy will be with us in a little bit.
Yes.
You know, the full-time, and we all know this role, the full-time job of being a dad.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yep.
So, guys, welcome.
Thank you for having us. This is awesome. I like the podverse, like that we're creating this little podverse. I'm with it.
Everybody's gonna just cross over. And I mean, I guess with you guys, with myself, have you done Ray Felix's Bronx Heroes podcast yet?
Not yet.
I have.
Oh,
I've been on Ray's, so and Ray's been on ours. So it's like an Avengers level crossover.
It's funny. So but I mean, for those folks who don't know you guys, who may not have seen me cross over, who have not heard of you before, tell us a little bit about the Nerds Around. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you kind of got started in this whole world of podcasting as well.
Ooh, okay.
So go ahead, Seabass, because you are the brain of the operation.
I'm not the brain. I'm just a guy who tells people what to do. So pretty much, I am Sebastian Bonet. I'm an artist. I've met Law at MBionCon. Since then, we've been great friends. And Tony was my neighbor. Still is my neighbor, and pretty much that's how Tony got involved with the show. We were all just hanging out. When Nerds of the Round first started, which was a geek culture podcast, was how I was envisioning this. It was originally on a channel called Geeks Unlimited. We did 4 episodes. Law was the very first guest there. We called it the dark episode because it was filmed in a basement that was very dark walls. You know, it's
and
like
it would never see the light of day.
It was one of those episodes where it's like you had to blink twice to make sure, so you let people know that you were okay. That's how bad that episode was. So from there, I moved Nerds Around to its own YouTube channel. My wife has done a lot of the production behind the scenes of the recording and everything. And from there,
with Jesse, all things are possible.
Oh yeah. So she has been the awesome editor and director of the show. So from there, I was having a conversation with Tony at an event called
Pancakes and Booze.
And I was telling him where I wanted to take the show and all that. And Tony was like, listen, I'm down, whatever, you know, help with the show. And Tony jumped on board to be a co-host when we started covering Game of Thrones. So we were doing Game of Thrones recaps, and then Law was again a reoccurring guest. And we decided to get to talk to different creators and
hold on. Mentioning Tone, welcome to the show. Tone from across the street. There he is.
Hey, there he is.
What a transition. What a transition.
Well done, kid. Good timing.
Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry. I had a very, very intense game of Candyland with the family.
Who won?
Bear won.
I knew it.
But
I was gonna call it.
I don't want to derail, but we have our house rule is once you get to the end, you then need to collect all 6 colors like the Infinity Stones.
Oh,
right.
Oh,
However, while you're collecting, you can still draw a card that transfers you back on the board, and those are also still in play. So you can be collecting your cards, and then you get hit with like the peanut or the gumdrop or something, and you get sent back. You still hold your cards, but then you got to make your way back to the castle. So it was a very intense game.
Wow. Okay. I like it.
Yes.
I have to play with these rules now.
Yes. So. But
there we go. There here to
I jumped in at the origin story of Nerds of the Round. Is that where I'm here? Is that what I'm getting?
When we came together, when we spoke to the creators of Legends of Itara, those were 2 friends of yours that you were on to the show, and they sparked the creator series, because that's when we started, and that's when we bumped Law to full-time host with us, and that's when the powers combined, Nerds of the Round, boom. And then from there we just been running with it, you know, and it's been a fun ride with these guys, and it's like we're family. That's pretty much what it is. You know, I'm the older annoying brother who's like has to go put people in the corner.
You're the viejo who's drinking Malta. That's what you are.
With your socks and sandals.
Yeah.
Your high water jeans.
Yeah.
But I passed the baton on to these guys.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, I feel like the little brother, even though Tone is younger than me. I feel like the younger brother out of the outfit. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun through like the transitions. I miss seeing them in person, and it was such a huge transition to go from like in person to digital. And I truly miss, like, even if we just do it just for like, you know, a day or two just to get together and like do a couple like in-person shows. Give me more of those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a transition that we all had to make. I mean, I shared with you, but when I was on your show, IncrediChat, I never thought of doing a podcast. I mean, it was always like a pie in the sky dream, but the pandemic kind of forced me and tons of other people into like, you know, what else are we going to do while we're on quarantine? Right. You know,
yeah.
So and you guys just kind of morphed in from that live thing into this whole virtual world now, which, you know, it's really interesting to see how the world of podcasting has really evolved in the last year too. The competition is fierce.
Yeah, definitely.
It is, and it was fun. Again, I don't think I would have been able to do it without the support of both my wife and Tony and Law, because we were all there. We were having fun in person and everything. Because I believe our last in-person interview was with Sean Luke Acevedo, and again, it was always a great time seeing each other, hanging out. But I think that, you know, the minute that we decided to take that transition to do virtual, I was like, listen, we got to do this. Because we had 2 episodes we did on Skype, and they just never aired because they just really horrible audio. So shout out to George Medina for that. Well,
it was a lot of like learning pains. I think like we definitely had that first initial few months of like trying to figure it out. Like, how are we going to do it? What are we going to do? What's the game plan? Because we all love this. We all want to do this, but it was figuring out how in the world could we do this and make it work as effectively as it has been. And I'm grateful for these 2 to keep pushing us to do more.
Yeah. And you know, you're mentioning about like those like trial runs like on Skype or whatever. I mean, really. And again, the world shifted very, very quickly, but it really was the wild, wild west for podcasts for a while there, right? Because everybody was jumping on there, and like you said, like I can share that the first show Grazi and I did when we first did our first IncredChat. I don't know if I told you guys this story. We had our buddy Ray Felix on, and I don't know. I know some people sometimes put up disclaimers for our friend Ray. And our very first show, somehow that disappeared
into the ether.
But everything went. Everything was going at that point, you know. And
Yeah, I know for us, a big change was the transition to the live show.
Live shows, yeah.
And using StreamYard, because like even before that, we were still doing the creative series, which were pre-records and doing all those and all that, and those were kind of coming out in a certain cadence. But it wasn't so like we talked like the origin story of Nerds of the Rounds is me is Seabass, saying he wants to take it away, move it from Geeks Unlimited, and me and him having that conversation, and then three of us all coming together for Legends of Atara. But like the rebirth as a phoenix of Nerds of the Round is Mandalorian season 2, episode 1 and 2 of the live show, as that was our consistent bread and butter that we have been doing at least every Tuesday. I think we're missing our first week next week, like for the first time since October. Yeah, we've just like been on a train just of moving forward, making sure that we are online consistently talking to, all of the people who watch us. We've got a couple day ones, and we've got some of our friends and
shout out to Aurelis.
Shout out to Aurelis. Yes,
day one for real.
And it's been something that we've been really excited about. I know we do a lot of the interviews and meeting a number of great creators, like we had you on our show, but we also wanted to stay top of mind in regards to trending topics, right? So we don't have a show every day that a lot of other podcasts do. And we've got like that Tuesday. So that Tuesday slot is either it's a review of a show or we may do an extra long episode and kind of go over, but we always want to make sure that we're giving our input on top of mind topics that are going around, that's trending, that everyone's talking about, and then also still provide that one-on-three, right, conversation with the creators and kind of giving them their space to shine on our show and kind of telling the world about what they're about. So that was a healthy mix that we've been trying to find, because it was easy to find in person, and then digital we had to figure out how do we stay top of mind with top of mind topics, but also still have our interview shows to make sure we're meeting some fantastic people. And then we also get them on our show. Like you were on our show, you were on our review shows, and then we did a creator series. Now we're on your show, and I'm sure we'll probably have you on again for a random show. Right? So like that's the beauty of this. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
We've been fortunate enough to have like really great guests, and like once we get a great guest, we're like open door policy. Like you know how to reach us. Come back whenever.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the one thing. And I mean, I definitely want to talk a little bit about Comic-Cons and some of the stuff that you guys are also involved with coming up, but like you're saying, this conversation, meeting different artists and just creators, and just fans, right? Like that is such an important part of the world that we lived in pre-pandemic, going to these conventions, sitting whether you're sitting at a table during the show or, after the convention's over, going out and getting wings and beers with the guys and kind of talking about this. And again, it's a mixed match of fans, creators, and all that stuff. And, when the world stopped, what was going on for these folks. And I think shows like what you're doing, shows like what I've been doing and Grazi have been doing and Ray been doing, is really spotlighting a little bit of everything to at least get that taste of conventions. Conventions are coming back now, but again, for a good 14 months,
I'm also really excited to see more like creative podcasts come out, because I feel like even though it feels kind of saturated, there's a space for everybody, and like we're in that digital space where like you're gonna find an audience somewhere. And literally this community, we're fortunate enough that we're in such great company that we can go on your show, we can go on other people's show. It's like a back and forth. We're like, hey, like you guys need a guest, we'll jump on your show. We need a guest for our show, jump on our, and it's such a nice exchange,
And also it's been fun too, because we've kind of gotten creative with it, with what we were trying to do. Like this past weekend, we hosted 2 live events on Nerds where Law was helping run the D&D portion of the show. I was helping run the drink and draw portion of the show, because we got together, we did a drink and draw event. And then a few weeks before that, we got together with another podcast crew from Sketchfed, G is for Geek. Shout out to those guys. And we did an episode called Questions Against Livers. We were testing Tony's and Sean Luke's knowledge, their geek knowledge on Star Wars and Game of Thrones. And I gotta say, yes, thank you, Tony, for being the one to save me. But it was fun. It was, again, these are things that it's like, we know cons are coming back, and I'm happy, like, to, get to see my peeps and everything. But it's like after, like, during the pandemic, seeing what you can do in the virtual space, I see it as a great way of extending on doing new stuff too, where it's like, something, God forbids, if we happen to go back on lockdown again, at least this way we have a lock of still having entertaining events online to entertain people and still in a way connect together.
Yeah.
I
think that's been the most like amazing part is like, even though we haven't really seen each other, a lot of it are like the people who jump in on chat, like, are people that we know in real life, and it's been like as if we haven't missed a step for a lot of them. So it's like, oh man, I get to see this person every week in the comment section, just like supporting us and being like super dope. I would love to see them again in person and give a hug because I'm a big hugger, but when we can, definitely will happen.
But what's crazy too, right, is that some of the folks we've interviewed have become really close, like, friends, I would say, or colleagues, and we have not met them in person. We just met them online and just jived, and just there's a connection when you talk, and you're just talking geek stuff, talking nerdy stuff, and you all kind of find that one connection. And we all come from different backgrounds of what we're into, but we all kind of come together for that one concept. And then you're just like, yo, even if whether you drink or not, like, I want to grab a beer with you, or I want to hang out with you. I want to, we got to do a barbecue. We got to see each other. When I see you, you're going to get dapped up. It's not just going to be like, nice to meet you, shake your hand. No, it's going to be like a whole to do, because we've made some really great connections with some of the folks we've met digitally. It's insane that, like, we don't have that person-to-person connection, which I know a lot of people crave, but the fact that we're able to have this face-to-face digital connection and share that with people, we're still building real relationships with folks that we may not have ever met in person.
Yep.
Yeah. And you really bring up a good point. I know for what I've been doing, and I'm sure for what you guys too, is, like you mentioned, like, these connecting with people that you've never met. Like, some of the guests, like, originally when we started doing this with Grazia, and then going forward, it was a lot of people that we knew from the convention circuit, like, oh, because we've done so many conventions, we've traveled to all these different places. Okay, let's call in our friends. And then it's like, all right, let's start reaching out to different people. So, like, I've had people from the West Coast, people who I've again never have met, and it's like, all right, cool. Now, like, I know you, I'll throw out like a really crazy one. Like, did you guys ever watch SCTV back in the day, or like Rick Moranis and John Candy?
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
It was like a Canadian Saturday Night Live. Like, I connected with a guy who was the costume designer, and he was in a bunch of the bit pieces. Him and I are buddies now, and I'm like, I've never met you before, but it's fantastic. And again, you really see this whole situation was, we saw how big of a world we are in, but really how small of a world we're in.
Yes.
We're all really connected to this.
Yeah,
and it's funny too, because it's like, I think I connected more with, like, and shout out to Michael Gracia, because he's an awesome dude too. I think I connected more with Mike through the virtual space than we were able to do at cons. And I think what was happening at cons is that, we were at some of the same shows, but it's like there's just so many things that was going on at the cons at the time that we really didn't have that time to really get to talk and have a conversation. And it's like, a lot of,
especially when you're boothing. If you're running your own booth and you're trying to like make, go like, oh, I'm going to run to another booth to go say hi to my friends and hang out and like really get to talk. It's hard, man.
That's why I used to also love the Creative Aftercon, because a lot of it was that a lot of people who I met at the Creative Aftercon network was that we were at a really chill setting and just getting to talk to each other. And I didn't get to do that. And this virtual environment actually created that same laid back, chill setting. And we were able to get to know people more, see past, like, we were able to get to see past certain people's stardom, get past and get to know people for who they were at the core. And it's like, you're a cool person. We want to, do more things with you and all that.
Yeah, most importantly, I just want to recognize a couple of people who are popping into the chat here. And Nerds of the Round is commenting. Is that your wife, Sebastian?
No, that's actually me. I'm double duty.
Because I was like, you're talking, it's coming. I'm like, I don't know.
There's people here.
But again, a huge shout out, and I know you mentioned it before, but a huge shout out to your wife, because your wife has done like amazing things. Like, when I came onto your show and I saw that whole, like, I'm like, holy crap, I need some opening credits. But no, she does a fantastic job. So I guess you've been seeing Thomas here, Surgeon's here.
Shout out to Atlas.
Tom,
what's up?
you to go to Vegas.
Yes, he does.
Yep.
So a buddy of ours that we met through him, we're actually going to be guests on his show tomorrow. I was a guest last month on the Sin Shop Las Vegas podcast. So the three of us will be there tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah. And again, this is the beauty of this connection that we're doing here, because like you're meeting all these people, and I'm guessing Thomas, he is in Vegas.
No. Thomas is in Michigan.
Well, okay. So Michigan,
we're all over. We are all over the place. Between a couple of us in New England, we got a couple in on the West Coast, down south, all over the place, man.
And we're gonna have him on to do a creative series about him, because what a lot of people don't know about him, as we're saying at Atlas in the chat, he is an awesome wood carver. He makes some really beautiful stuff with this guy makes some really great stuff, and we wanted to showcase that. He's a master crafter
extraordinaire.
And he also and something too with getting to know him, he's one of those people that actually bends backwards over for people to get the job done. He gets and he wants to make sure he is always working for his clients and working to make sure that people are getting what they pay him to do. And again, master craftsman, beautiful stuff.
And a great story. I was fortunate enough to have him as my first guest for season 3 of my own podcast. So I had him on last month for episode 1 and 2 of What's Your Story? And beautiful story. And I'm sure there's more story to tell because we didn't even get a chance to cover all of it.
Yep. So we'll get him on and get him to tell all.
Yep.
Spill the beans.
Spill all the beans.
Yeah. No, and again, the beauty of this, and he just said he's a super fan of you guys. I support everything you do.
Yep.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
We love you, Atlas.
But no, this is great. So now let's talk about some, now that we know you guys and the folks watching us know you guys too. Let's talk a little bit about conventions. You guys are involved in something that's coming up. Let's talk about that for a minute. I don't know who wants to take it away from the three of you guys.
I guess I'll take it. I'll deep dive.
Yeah, go for it.
And I'll let Law fill in all the blanks if I leave out anything. my head, like people don't know, my head is always like 50 million ways like this. So if I stumble off words, I am just going to say I am sorry because I'm like moving at 50 million miles per hour. But Incredicon, it was a convention. I was fortunate enough that I got to meet Lawrence there. Got to introduce Tony to this family. Shout out to Eric Hutch, who is the CEO behind Inbeyond.com. I got to be the showrunner for 2019, and then I was supposed to be showrunner again for 2020, and we were faced with a dilemma in 2020, which was, again, the pandemic. We decided to take the show virtual, which we're doing again this year. The virtual show was to give back to fans and creators, and we're doing it again, free admissions, because again, at the same time, it's like we want to create a creator space, a con for creators by creators. And this is nothing to go against any of the cons out there. We fully support what everyone is doing. We just, again, we're creators that was like, we want to build this creative space for fans to come to connect with creators, where creators come to connect with creators, and where people can come learn. And that was
the educational space has been really big. Like, a lot of our panels last year were very like how to break into something and how to do something that otherwise people don't really talk about. They're just like, we're in that field, we're in that space. We don't know how we got here, or we don't really get into how we got here. And we were able to, have all these, amazing creators talk about how to get in this space and really break into a lot of these industries that otherwise seem like they're too far from like the normal space.
And again, I'm a big believer of the each one teach one method, and we can learn from our peers how to take it to. And I'm going to sound corny right now, to take it to the next level, and
make it plus ultra.
Yes,
there it goes. There it is.
But it's. I mean, I'll be like doing these shows and everything. And again, it's been ways of building relationships with people. We've all built great relationships with people with doing the show. It's on the 28th and the 29th of August. And we're looking to do virtual activities and everything for people and all that. And eventually when our live show does return, this is just going to be an extension of what the live show does, and it's helping with, I don't want to use the word exposure, but it's helping with showcasing people to an audience that they may not get when they're at one particular show. So it's like, yeah, you could get the crowd here, but what if we can broadcast it too, and you're getting people in Canada, you're getting people in California, you're getting people, and it's just, and if you could connect with people too who you might have not have connected at a show because you guys can't show up to the same show if you're on different time zones and everything, but it's like if you come in the virtual space, we have that connectivity for you, and that's why we're archiving and still leaving up.
I think that was the biggest part for last year, was like a lot of our friends who were from, you know, out of state were like, oh snap, we could actually like attend the show now. Like that was something like for me, who, you know, I helped show run before Seabass took on the reins. And that was always like a big thing. It's like, I want to go to the show, but I can't. And I'm like, we're going to try to figure out like a way to do this. And then like, unfortunately, you know, COVID happened and we were forced to kind of create the digital space to have a digital, you know, con. And we were just like, oh snap, like everyone can really come and attend and like have fun, drop in on a panel or on a, you know, live art stream, that kind of thing. And it was really dope to see and experience.
I remember when we got that message from Hutch that said it was in the beginning of the pandemic in March, and he was like, I don't think we're going to be able to do a show. And then he goes, and we were all kind of bummed out for a day because he was like, we're going to go virtual. And we were bummed out for a day, but then all of a sudden our group chat was blowing up about how getting excited with connecting with people. Because again, it was just like, you know what, we can do this. We were looking at how people were doing their virtual shows, like what worked, what didn't work. And it was like, you know what, we were listening to people, and that's what we're taking a lot of the things we did right last year. We're gonna keep that, and some of the, and we were already currently reaching out. I'm reaching out to you right now, Mike, in the chat, about stuff, because we want to again make this something that's great for people. We know we cannot 100 replicate the con experience, but if we can create a new experience that people like, can come to, gravitate, learn, and that's how a lot of these learning spaces start. And again, that's what we want to create an environment where you can go and not worry about having to drop crazy amount of money, where it's like, again, we could charge, but it was like, no, let's go for free. And that's the same thing, we're going for free.
That's
have fun, it's free.
Good, Tom.
No, it's just, you know, it's such a not to, you know, usually when you say low bar of entry, you think of a negative thing, but like it's in a positive light. Like there's no reason to not attend or to table or whatever. One of the things we noticed, and it's no secret, it is hard as hell to sell your stuff in a digital only event. If you are not a super well-known brand, you are at Artist Alley and you are hustling to do your thing, to sell your work that you deserve to be paid for, right? It's hard. And we recognize that. So you can't ask people to drop hundreds of dollars on a table in an event, and you can't even give them, no one can guarantee you to sell, but you should at least get like an ROI estimate. Like if you do this, you could potentially, and like, it's so hard. There really isn't anything there. So why put a price tag on something without being able to give you any sort of metrics to show that it's going to be worth your time? We want people to make connections and to come together, to get to know each other, to build lifelong connections that build lifelong connections that will last, right? And that will help move forward, because we're not all going to stay home forever. We're not going to be sequestered. We're getting our vaccines and we're doing all we need to do. Cons are going to open up again, but why not have some people that you know, some artists that you know, and you go to another con and you can kind of bring all that together. Because you now have something that you can participate in that isn't costing you, you know, a number of pieces, or you have to sell like X amount of pieces to justify it. Because then what's the point? Like the whole thing is we're all in this together, and we just want to do that for the community.
I love what you were saying about and it's really true, and that's really been like the whole method of in IncrediChat too, is like, you know, we've had some big guests on, we've had some folks that are lesser known, you know, but again, it's that exposure, it's building that community. And then the folks that come on here, you know, there are people who may not know about them before. And so like some of the folks watching tonight may never seen IncrediChat before, never seen Nerds of the Round. You know what? They're gonna go check those things out, you know, and you know, hitting all these different avenues. And yeah, you know what, like you said, there's no way to guarantee how much someone's going to make on it. But you know what? If somebody goes there and, you know, buys that piece of artwork, buys that comic book, you know, we've had some celebrities on, gets an autograph from them, or, you know, they enjoyed what we were doing here, and then the next time a live event comes on, they go and they go seek those people out from the artist alley and stuff. Oh, we lost them.
just for a little bit, because Josie's being Josie.
I'll put him there until he's back. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, you're drawing when we get back in person, like he was saying. You know, people are now going to come and search out. Oh, you know what? I remember watching. Hey, he's back. I remember. Welcome back.
It is what it is.
Hashtag being a dad. I know.
Yep.
People are going to come and find you at shows, which again, you know, just makes your I guess if you want to call it your worth go up then, you know, because now you've become something. Like, you know, you guys have the how do you say In Beyond Con. You have the In Beyond going on, like, you know, me doing this IncredChats. Like, I'm going up to a show in Massachusetts in July, and he's giving me a panel room to like just do some live IncredChats with some people. And again, it's just the constant building and making the connections with people, you know. And I think that's important.
And I'm one of the best. Go ahead.
You know, I was gonna say, and I'm always good about this too. If we can at least touch one person to help them take their name to the next level, I'm like, then we did our job. Because it's like, I again, a lot of us got into this stuff, we didn't know what we were doing, and you know, you got into podcasting. Lawrence is a man of many hats, a photographer, cosplayer, and I remember the story Lawrence says, like, he was just handed a camera by Hutch and he learned photography. I'm learning the storytelling, learning with this and that. There are various different things, and it's like those experiences, like, not to say, because I always hate to use this as like, oh, well, I learned what didn't work, so I'm going to teach you what. Like, no, I'm going to help you learn from just the different experiences. And again, if we touch one person, we did our job. Yeah. We did it, and we want to see people learn this stuff, learn how to. And for me, it was a personal thing when I saw a lot of friends in creativity really just got lost last year in the 2020 pandemic, and I'm like, dude, like, it for me, that sucked. It sucked really hardcore, because it's like you want to do something for people, and it's just them was like, you know, the lifeblood that they felt that was there, and when it's gone, it's like, no, there are a lot of different ways to do this stuff. There's no right or wrong way. It's as long as you're doing it legal and morally, you know. And again, we wanted to bring people together and show them, like, listen, we can help each other, lift each other up, and teach each other.
One of my favorite parts, not only from like the artist community and the creators that we've had exhibit with us, but also from like the people who've attended our shows, is that like when they come, they're like, this feels like a family reunion. Like, this feels like I'm coming back and I'm just hanging out with friends and family. So every year that I've gotten that compliment, that's my win. Like, that is literally my threshold of just like, all right, we did a great show this year. Doesn't matter what happened. If I get that, I know we had a solid show. And I've been fortunate that, you know, it has been the case.
You're building an experience, and that's
absolutely,
and that's return. Like, when I started getting into this before doing IncredicOns and IncredChats, you guys know Alex Simmons, I assume, right? Yeah. From Kids Comic Con. So I did a lot of work with Alex. And then, like, I've kind of branched off and done my own thing, and that's where I hooked up with Grazia. But the thing is, we were doing kid sections. You know, Grazia, myself, even Ray. You know, we're all teachers. We all work with young people. So that's really where the passion is. We're not. I'll speak for myself. I'm not in doing this to become rich. You know, I've got my day job. But I like taking this and using this with young people. You know, but again, when we were doing these kid sections with Alex and then Grazia and everything, you know, we would have people who would come to our shows, kind of like what you were saying before, you know, be like, oh, you know, we did some of your workshops at, you know, this one con. We heard you guys were going to be here. We're going to come and do some more of your workshops, you know, and we're doing the workshops. We're not getting paid to do the workshops. We're doing this as an addition to the con, but we're, like you said, touching that one person, you know. So if we have that one kid that keeps coming back and back to see us, you know, and getting our tips and stuff, that's worth $1 million.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And again, it like Law said, like for me, and just my personal experience again dealing with Eric, was that when I did his show, and it was the first show I did, he pulls me to the side in the beginning of the show. Says, "Listen, whatever you," and this is just explaining Eric's character. He goes, "Whatever you do in the show, don't think about the money you're gonna make. Think about the connections you're gonna make."
Correct.
And even to this day, that first show, one of my first buyers for my comic was George Medina, who's part of Catch the Craze podcast.
Yeah.
And since then, me and George are just been really good friends. But it was even after the show when Eric pulled me to the side. It was like, well, how did the show go for? And it was just that general like he wanted to know, like, and from there it was just building relationships. Like, I mean, obviously, because look, me, Tony, Law, we're all big friends, and we call ourselves family, and we've all been getting together. When before the pandemic started, even playing Dungeons and Dragons with each other for like every other Saturday. We're going on we're starting
year and a half.
Yeah. And
essentially
before that, just the events and all that we've got together, seeing each other's families grow and all that. And again, it became a family unit.
Yeah. So I like how you said about like all the different shows and stuff. Like, this past year, it's been a long 14 months, but we've seen growth in everything. And look back, I mean, what March 2020 when all this really started happening. Like it went by really fast.
Yeah, it did. It's insane. Like what we've all had to just get accustomed to.
Yeah.
Like, at first it was kind of just watching everything happen. And like, even when we had Sean Luke come for our last show, it was getting to that point of like, oh, got to start, washing your hands and like keeping track of everything. And then after that, it was just like, and we're, all right, well, kids are not going to school and I'm not going to work in the city. I guess we're now going digital.
Yeah.
There's no, we can't, so, yeah.
Let me ask you guys. So in your entire run, how many shows have you created?
Oh, we are well past the 100 mark now.
Over 100.
We had our 100 episode, I believe, in January. So we're well past 100 episodes because we had a lot on the podcast, on the audio space, and like I said, there are episodes on the YouTube that we haven't watched because they were just audio. So we had a lot of the stuff on Spotify, Anchor. So we did I think
it's a lot. It's a lot. We have a lot. We probably have a lot more audio episodes than we do YouTube.
Like YouTube episodes.
YouTube is very hit or miss until Mandalorian season 2.
Right. With YouTube, I think we're starting to approach that. We're getting close to 100 visual episodes.
I think it wasn't even for Mandalorian. I think we started really picking up at IncredCon when we started dropping all those panels and whatnot, and we were just hosting like a whole bunch of stuff. We hit the 100. Once we hit 100 like subs on YouTube, it was literally just, and we were like, oh, this is moving fast. Like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And it was funny because like we broke 100 subs during IncredCon last year. Mm-hmm. Then we saw an uptake when we did the lives.
Yeah.
And now we have 207 subs. And what I did for those who subbed in the episode that I announced it, I actually put a link there to download my debut comic and 4 digital prints for free as a thank you. Because again, it's like without people subbing to the channel, which we thank to everyone who subs, the channel would be nowhere. And again, we thank for all that support. We're like, if people don't think that we're thankful, no, we are super thankful. I mean, I'm even making an ass of myself on TikTok now.
but we've also managed to, not only with our shows, but like collaboratively with the studio, with our own individual projects or like just group projects like the Medusa's Cascade and what have you, have been able to like push all of our own individual platforms and the group projects to like insane numbers now. Like, we have the Medusa's Cascade, we're slowly getting to like 1,000 plays on a D&D podcast that we all kind of just were like, yo, let's put on a D&D podcast. Let's, have a way for us to play games and like really connect, with the group and, keep in touch because we don't get to see each other as often, and then turn into a podcast where we're now doing multiple campaigns and multiple, characters and settings and DMs and all this other stuff. It's been really dope to see everyone's level of work and commitment, even despite everything that's been going on. Like everyone's still like, yo, we gotta stay busy, stay productive, and put out stuff.
And what's been a good motivator too is that when we were bringing guests on the show, and which we continue to do, is people reaching out to us about their Kickstarters, about their projects.
Yeah.
A lot of the creators that still stayed active creating during the pandemic. One is this: we wanted to showcase them, and two was to show people that no, let's motivate each other. It was a motivational tool to show people that we can all still work together, be creative. And I mean, we saw some really great projects from people who hunkered down, create, and again, just like big shout out to Robert Powers, who successful Kickstarter
Dude,
of
his
Guinos Revenge,
out of the water.
And everyone
within the first week.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like what we've seen what people do, and just getting involved with these people, getting to talk to them, getting to know them, and the relationship building. I think that's also that's definitely one of the most rewarding parts. It's like we know a lot of great creative individuals, like Lou Seif. I was excited to see when Lou went on someone else's show, and it was
right
connected. I was like, dude, I am excited for you, and for me. And for us, as we talked about it, that helped, get what was noticed about him, which was the album. Yeah. And then he was like, here's a track, use it for your intro. I was like, dude, thank you. And, again, this is what we wanted to see, was people connect to each other, building projects together, and everything like that.
Yeah. So I have a question here. You were sitting here talking about guests and all these things. Kenny Mendoza, and I'm gonna change it around. So he asked about 80s or 90s cast. So I certainly you guys can mention that too. But who would be like one of your dream guests? It could be a cast, but I mean, do you have a dream guest that you would have on?
I'm gonna think about that when I'll let these guys go first.
Oh, geez.
Man.
Like dream guest, I don't know. There's only a few people where I would lose my crap over, right? If I see someone, one of them, both of them actually are in Star Wars. So I would say Mark Hamill and James Earl Jones.
Nice.
I like Mark Hamill because it's Mark Hamill, but James Earl Jones because both the voice of Mufasa and the voice of Darth Vader. I'm sure that's a very easy pick for a lot of people, but I don't really stand a number of celebrities. But those two, I'm very Mark Hamill's just a fantastic human being, and then Mufasa's just the voice, right? He's just the voice. So I know
Mark Hamill would be a fun guest too, because he'd totally get into all this stuff too. That's the best part.
Yeah, definitely. And he's also the voice for a number of things too. So
correct.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because I've been getting really into filmmaking and I'm starting to work on certain projects, but Christopher Nolan would be someone I would love to pick his brain. Just because as far as visual and writing directors are, he's probably one of the best that's out there. He is a very, and he still shoots. He refuses to shoot digitally, which blows my ever loving mind. So I really would love to pick his brain on that front. So he'd be probably mine.
I'm going to go with a few here. So John Leguizamo, because I'm going to talk comics with him. Karen Parsons, because again, I think what she's doing, she's just a phenomenal individual. Jim Lee, if we could, because again, I would love to talk Wildcats with him. And I will definitely say Rob Liefeld. I have a love-hate relationship with Rob Liefeld because I'm a fan of his art and everything, but also I don't like his art. But again, I don't want to say I hate the individual, because out of left field, he is a person who continues to be involved in the business, and I would want to definitely pick that man's brain. And I want to get the whole backstory of Youngblood, because again, Youngblood used to be one of my favorite superhero teams with that Image Age. But yeah, those are a few that. Did I say Kevin Smith?
Hey,
Kevin Smith would be a great one.
I was gonna say that because I was thinking the same thing. And I mean, just imagine geeking out with him.
Yes.
Man.
I would just want to talk about bad movies all day with Kevin Smith. That's it.
You can literally tell me we're going to talk about just anything with Kevin Smith, and I'd be here for it, because he's whatever. I'm here.
And I have one more person, which I think would get my wife to jump on the show to host that show. It's Lucy Lawless. That's it. End of discussion.
Well, you know, I'm gonna meet you and Tone in the middle here because like definitely Kevin Smith, but I have someone who has ties to Kevin Smith, but also has ties to the Star Wars universe, and I met her once, Rosario Dawson.
Oh,
that'd be a really good one. Yeah.
I mean, she's just been in so many awesome things, anyways, and she's a cool person.
She continues to be an awesome thing. She's actually in Young Rock, and I was like, I love her character. Yeah, she's in Young Rock, and I love the character that she's played. I love every character Rosario Dawson plays. Phenomenal actress who does her job and plays her characters to the T. And I mean, she always looks like she's having. I got to meet her in person once, which was a signing for La Bariguana. She was there with the creator for the character, and again, just her vibe and everything. That quick second on it, she is an awesome person. And I love again. Yeah, again, that would be awesome. I'll be the fly on the wall for that episode when you do.
No, but yeah, I agree. Like I said, I met her once too, and again, just a wonderful energy and just such a pleasant person, you know.
Well, congrats! You had what was it? You did that episode with Bill Diamond just recently. That was dope. That he got to take you to the studio too.
Yeah, well, and you know, which was cool. That was the I thought I lost it for a minute. That was the first live in person event because I mean I'm up here in the Hudson Valley. He's about 20 minutes away from where I live. So, and that was the first time I've seen him since 2020. Like I probably saw him in 2019 was the last time. But yeah, and so it was cool to do like a live show and go over there and like I said, walk around and they were shooting a movie. I forget the name of it.
I think it was a zombie movie. I know that.
And John Fiore, who like a little behind the scenes thing here for everybody who saw that prior. We came on late that night because I was supposed to be there at 8:30. They were wrapping filming. So we went on a little bit after 9 because we were all sitting there. I was with Bill and the people working on the movie. John Fiore, who played the guy who died on the toilet in The Sopranos. I can't think of the name offhand.
Why? There's so many.
I can't think of it. But he's like in about 15 episodes. We were sitting there doing shots before he came on. It was great.
That's awesome.
It was great. But yeah, just fun stuff about being in person. So I mean, before we wrap, because I mean we still have about 10 minutes. So let's get a little bit of like some hot new topics that are going on. Because we were talking before. So what do you guys think? Denai Guerra is coming to Disney Plus to do a Koi TV series.
I am for it. I am all for it. Let's go. Again, I'm at this point right now where Disney and whoever they're working with cannot do us any wrong at this time right now because they have delivered awesome stuff through Star Wars, through Marvel, and through Pixar. I mean, I am all for it, and I believe that we're going to see a beautiful relationship and something awesome to come out of this.
When you mentioned Disney, I wish Disney would put some of that energy. I mean, and again, the Pixar stuff, the Marvel, the Star Wars. Well, let's say most of the Star Wars stuff. I've been reading so much about. They're going to reshoot the new trilogy. It's not going to happen. I don't know where this is coming from. They're not.
Well, I think everyone was talking about that because everyone thought that them promoting Dave Filoni was gonna have him just come in and wipe the slate clean. I'm like, no. The sequel trilogy is the sequel trilogy. It's the sequel trilogy. Adam Driver carried it on his back. And that's kind of where we're at. Dave Filoni is now there to pretty much take care of any other live projects that come out of the Star Wars universe. And if he is there, I am comfortable with whatever comes out.
But did you see what they said though? Because then they came out because everybody like the internet blew up when they mentioned it. But I guess they just made something public that was already in place.
Yeah. People thought. Stupidly thought that Kathleen Kennedy was out and Dave Filoni was in. Everyone's like, no, Kathleen Kennedy promoted him and he's had this. It's just now public.
Exactly.
It's like Kathleen Kennedy isn't going anywhere.
No.
She was George Lucas's pick.
Yeah.
To take care of this stuff. She's not going anywhere.
Right.
She only made one bad pick, which is the director of that second Star Wars movie.
No, I would say the main bad pick was just not having a singular director for the sequel trilogy.
That too.
Or or if you were gonna have multiple directors, just be more hands-on with the vision. So that there wasn't a whole each director had their own vision thing. It was like a whole, it was exactly what happened with Ant-Man and Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright didn't go with the vision of Kevin Feige. Edgar Wright did not do Ant-Man. He went off and did his own thing, and that's okay. But we are neither here nor there. The sequel trilogy is what it is.
What happened to legacy characters is what happened to them. We have to kind of accept it. Life happens,
Exactly. Remember, as I was talking about this on Tuesday, or that Star Wars is made for kids. Yeah. As much as us as adults want to say it is made for us, it is made for kids. The stuff made for us as adults are the books and the games and anything that is not a 9-part movie series.
But you make such a good point. So when I liked Solo, I thought Solo was a solid movie. It was fun because listen, at the end of the day, you've got Han Solo and Lando. They're both assholes, and we
love them. They're the reason why we love them.
I mean, Donald Glover as Lando. I was a stand for that. I was just like, give me a movie with just him.
While they might be doing a show, but the thing is like that came after Last Jedi, and everybody had their feelings about Last Jedi. So we went in there, yes, you know what, and they again different visions for it, and I don't know what the original Solo would have looked like prior to Ron Howard, but it's not Harrison Ford, it's not Billy D. Williams. But listen, it's Han and it's Lando. They're both assholes. We know they're going to live through the movie because it's a prequel. So just go.
Morales, hello. We were just talking about you earlier.
Morales.
Day one over here.
Chewie did kick butt.
Chewie kicked butt.
Yes.
But to your point, what a buddy of mine went with his son, who was about 13, 14 years old, and as everybody's sitting there trashing Solo, his son looks at him. He's like, "Dad, this is an awesome movie because like you said, it doesn't matter who that's Han Solo. Fine. Our Han Solo was Harrison Ford. To this new generation of kids, it's going to be this actor. Same thing. Donald Glover. This is Lando going forward. And just deal with it."
They dated themselves right because I also remember too that Han Solo the movie didn't get as much advertisement after that other Star Wars movie, the second movie. And I think that was one thing that hurt it right there, was that we didn't get much advertising, and I preferred that over that second Star Wars movie. It was entertaining, and I think that if it had came out during Disney Plus when Disney Plus was launching, we probably could have got it as a show, and it probably would have even done even much more better. But
I think to your point it sucks that we didn't get the rest of the anthology movies, but now we're getting the shows, right?
We're getting it.
I thoroughly enjoyed Rogue One. I mean, I think Rogue One is good because of the Darth Vader scene, and that just makes it better, right? That's just having your cake and eating it too, essentially, is what that scene is. And the success of Rogue One, I kind of felt is kind of what was driving the whole Solo hype, right? That was it. It was like Rogue One did really good. How could Solo be bad? And then after Solo was everyone had their issues with Solo. They were like, and we're done with these movies. We will not recast anybody. We're just going to bring in all the old actors and we're going to do what we need to do. But, I think using Disney Plus, the way they're using it for these TV shows, it's much better. It's way better. Having a Boba Fett movie just wouldn't work.
Nope.
Like after seeing what Boba Fett was in season 2 of Mandalorian, and what they're able to get out of him in the 3 episodes that he was in there, and then we're getting the Book of Fett. I mean, that's so much better than what we could have gotten in a 2-hour movie where we've got to get the information of how he got back and how he is where he is and all this other information. We would need it. We would crave it. Where in the show, it's kind of just, it is what it is. Yeah. And we're cool. We haven't seen him climb out the Sarlacc pit. Will we? I don't know. But now we're past that point.
Right.
Maybe we'll get a flashback scene really early on, but it's really about him taking over the syndicate for the Hutts, and that's what we're going to be dealing with, and that's what we're excited for. Same thing for like Obi-Wan and all these other TV shows they're going to do. Like, there's no need to do the movie. I think movies for ensemble pieces and big story pushes, then sure, but this back and forth of movie and TV show with their one platform, like, get killing it. They're doing it right.
Yeah. And I gotta say, with that end scene at Mandalorian with Boba Fett, spoiler, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, as a fan, like I was surprised. Who knew Bib Fortuna was still alive?
Yes.
Like, oh wow, I thought he died.
Yeah, no, he made his way. He was good to go.
I know.
He really
shot though.
He really wanted to take that role of a Hutt because
he did.
He did.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for whatever we get with Star Wars. I think we're done with this whole Skywalker saga, and we're just gonna get these one-off movies. I want my Old Republic movie. I want Darth Revan. I want Darth Malak. I want Darth Bane. As you can see, I'm a huge dark side Darth person. That's all been my thing. But those are the stories I want because I've read those stories or I've played KOTOR, and I think there's so much stuff in the Old Republic and the High Republic with what the Jedis were doing that gives everyone that essence of action that we all want, but also you can kind of figure out how things happen and why things the way they are, right? With the Jedi at the pinnacle of power and them fighting with the Sith and them going back and forth and having like the political intrigue and all that. I think just go back in time and let's do that. You have the sky's the limit.
Correct.
Like this whole, we got to be between episode 1 and episode 9 and bobbing and weaving and giving Easter eggs and all this other stuff. I'm like, I'm over that. I want something completely different.
Well, and and that same thing, like we're over the Skywalker thing. The one thing that it was cool. I'm not going to deny it, but like everybody was digging at the Mandalorian kind of separated stuff, and awesome that Ahsoka's in there and that's coming up, and fine at Boba Fett, but like having
they don't force it. They touch upon it, but they don't force it.
Yeah, but then I great to see Luke there, but it's just like could they have maybe gone with another Jedi who was like out there, because who knows how many people at this point now, and I've read an article like how many Jedis have survived Order 66, right? So, originally it was just like Obi-Wan and Yoda, and now there's like all these other people coming out of the woodwork, right?
We got all these TV shows for all these random Jedi because like they were all dead. It was like, nah, your clone troopers suck. Yeah, I mean, and I think what was really cool about the Mandalorian is that they never overkilled it with lightsaber.
Yeah,
like the use of the lightsaber was a treat.
Yes.
So when Ahsoka did it, it was like, oh, because she did it differently, because she was just like stealth,
of course,
killing all those guys. I mean, the way they were using it was like, because we were so used to just the Mando just being the way he is and taking action and doing. So like whenever a lightsaber happened, it was just very, oh, this is a treat for me. I'm not being oversaturated with the Force and all this other stuff. Yeah. So it made me excited. So when Luke comes out and goes off the Dark Troopers and just murks all of them, it's an incredible moment because you're not expecting that. Like you knew someone was calling to him, but then you see the black cloak and the green lightsaber and then, the CGI or whatever. Yeah. But seeing all that happen was like, oh, this is the Skywalker we never got a chance to see.
Correct.
Yes.
Like that's what we want. We want that Skywalker after episode 6 and before he's a broken man in episode 7.
Drinking
blue milk, right? I want to see him at his height.
Yeah.
Right. And before he's crushed, because I think that's a cool. But I think eventually we're gonna have to recast Luke Skywalker, and we're just gonna have to all deal with it. So Sebastian Stan.
We're gonna want to see what led Luke to that broken hobo guy that he became.
And then you want to know what's funny? If you really think about it this way, is that I will not be surprised if they do cast Sebastian Stan, because look how many actors who are doing Star Wars are crossing over now into the Marvel property, same thing vice versa, and Disney's reusing them. Like Emilia Clarke, who is now in Han Solo, she has now been casted in Secret Invasion. And we don't know who she is playing, but it was funny too to point out that we have 3 main Game of Thrones actors that are now going to be casted in the Marvel MCU.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very, very interesting stuff. I mean, and more to come. So, it's been an hour.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Listen, this is great. We should get together and do some more of these. Of course.
Yeah. By all means.
Oh, we got Loki coming up in a few weeks, and there's Bad Batch, and
we
got a lot of little follow-up episodes that we gotta do. Especially, I just finished Jupiter's Legacy, and I really want to talk about it. I'm like, oh my god,
oh god, I gotta watch that then.
All right.
I gotta put the time in.
I'm still finishing Shadow and Bone.
So, guys, we got Sebastian, Law, and Tone from across the street. The nerds of the round. I keep wanting to say nerds of the realm.
You don't want your nerds.
It happens.
Nerds of the round, guys. Check them out on YouTube, and you guys are on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff too. So
On TikTok.
Guys. And what night do you guys live again?
We are
Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Tuesday nights at
Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
We will not be live next Tuesday, though. This is the first Tuesday we're taking off, and we will be back the following Tuesday, actually, with Enrique Lopez and talking about a Kickstarter. So we will be back the following Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
I'm talking Loki, no?
No, Loki airs right after.
Okay. So
and then the following Tuesday we'll be reviewing episode 1 of Loki.
Nice.
And then in July you have Black Widow.
Yes.
Finally.
We'll be having you on back, Mike, for those discussions.
Let me know. So, guys, thank you so much once again tonight. Everybody watching at home, check out the Nerds of the Round on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and then join us next week here on IncrediChat. We have Rick Lyon, who's a puppeteer from Sesame Street. And if you saw Avenue Q, he built the puppets for Avenue Q and was in the original cast as Mickey and Tricky Monster. So he'll be with us next week. So, folks, we will see everybody next week on IncrediChat. Have a great night, everybody.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.